What's going on, guys? WadeX98 here again with the Smite patch notes. Today we're doing 3.23, also known as Wings of Victory, because of this beautiful goddess. I shouldn't even say beautiful, it's a war goddess. And I'm here again with my good friend Fang. At least the one with the mohawk. Okay, so as you can see, we got the new goddess. Finally, praise the gods, a Greek warrior. Can I get a hallelujah? Well, fuck you. So, basically very war goddess-like. She's a goddess of victory. She worked alongside with Athena, so her kind of motif is kind of wisdom, war, and victory, and you'll see that kind of revolve around that a lot in her kit, of course, and her lore when she comes out, because we don't have lore right here. So, but I mean, she looked cool. She's not your kind of thing because you like the demonic stuff. If she had like the bat wings, then you'd be like, mine. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, her recolor does not look great, to be honest with you. But we'll get to that in a second. So we're going to go on into abilities, and of course start out with the passive. And the passive is really cool. I actually like this kind of aspect of the passive in that she sets goals for the team, and every time the team reaches the goal, everybody gains power and movement speed. And as you can see, the first goal is to eliminate 10 gods. So that's like, as the team kill 10 gods. It could be your mid laner, it could be your carry, it could be you, it could be 3 along the lanes, it could be your support stealing all the kills. But as soon as you and that's their first goal. Your second goal is to eliminate 200 minions as a team, and the third goal is for at least 2 allies to be level 20. So if you do reach all 3 of that, you get the 3 pieces of the laurel, which, if you don't know, is the olive branch looking thing around her head. But of course they get put on all of them, and it's kind of like this golden halo once it's done around all the gods on your team. And if you don't know what a laurel is, go look it up in Greek mythology. You'll understand it after that. So, as you can see, it stacks based on how many stacks you have, or how many goals you've met. 8%, 10%, and then 12% for the power, and 3%, 5%, and 7% in movement speed. So you'll be moving faster, you'll be hitting harder just as you reach these. So if you're having a low killed game, you're not going to be able to get that really easily. If you're having, there's really should be no reason that you shouldn't get goal 2 or 3 anytime. I mean, you're going to hit 20. People are going to hit 20, especially if you're feeding your lane. Like, if you're farming well, the carry in the solo lane should be hitting 20 pretty easily. And minions, come on, people. Unless you're just not clearing your waves, there's what, 7 minions in a wave over 3 lanes. Come on, clear your wave. If you're not hitting that pretty early on, you're not doing very well. So, I mean, that's probably the 2 is probably your easiest goal. Your 1's going to depend on how your team comp. If you're not a damaging team comp, you're kind of screwed. And then your 3, that's going to come with time. Goal 3. But still, very cool passive. Great idea, in my opinion. Next up, we have the first ability, which is Rend. Well, what this is kind of like, think about Wukong's Cudgel, but it happens twice. And what it does is it has a base damage of 50 to 190 plus 50% scaling. And the second one, if you hit the same person, I think will do that damage. But if you hit the same person with it, it gains protection shred to that target for 4 to 20 for 5 seconds. 4 to 20 protections for 5 seconds. So And this isn't like Wukong Cudgel where you could it's a lot like it. That's a good comparison because you swing that, you have kind of that adjustment while it's in the air. You can do that, but you can also do that on the second swing, so you can hit one forward and go around back. And of course, Fang just left because he's Fang. But you can hit forward, you can back, hit forward to the side, hit whichever ways you want to, and just I guess kind of have fun with it. I mean, if you hit the two of them together, it's more. It gives you the protection shred, and gives you that clear. So that's probably our basic clear tool. And as we'll see, plan of action. Was that a sneeze? Okay. As you see, plan of action actually gives a kind of a buff to her next ability once she pops it, but it also gives a passive MP5 gain from 10 to 30 based on its rank, which will help her sustain in lane. But her next ability gains bonus damage and a special effect, which I'm going to go ahead and talk about in Rend, being that if Nike's plan of action is activated, the Rend has an additional attack. So it gives 1, 2, and then 3 times. And the third time hits the same target, it disarms. As you can see, the cost is 60 to 80 with a 12-second cooldown. And so it's not that, it's not very expensive, and it's going to be very quickly. So it's going to be your main clear tool. And with plan of action, it's going to be a pretty good tool to see how solo laners and and mains really use to its advantage. Like I said, plan of action gives you HP 5. It gives you a bonus damage of 20 to 60 on your next ability cast, and it costs 30 to 50, so it's really low cost. But its cooldown is 18 to 14, so kind of a long cooldown for a buffing ability, but we'll see how it goes. So next up we have a leap, basically, and what it is, it's just a basic leap with an AoE crash down, and what it will knock up anyone in the area of the crash down, and it does 65 to 265 plus 60% of the physical power. But if plan of action is activated, you're going to travel much faster. And of course, this costs 55 to 75, increasing over your levels, and has a cooldown of 18 seconds. So it's going to be a very, it's a long cooldown for a leap skill. So it's set kind of for your own safety. If you use it to initiate, you're going to be stuck there for a little bit, but you don't know. You may be good. If you're building defensive, you'll probably be good, unless you get just destroyed by a fed hunter or something. Happens. Finally, the ultimate, she transforms into the Armored Sentinel, sending out a shockwave that damages 100 to 360 plus 8% of your physical power and slows 30% enemies around her. When she transforms, while in this form, she gains 40% of her max health as a shield, and if plan of action is active, Nike instead gains 60% of her max health as a shield and applies a 60% slow, so doubling the slow and adding 20% to her shield if plan of action was activated first. It's 90 to 110 for the cost and a 100-second cooldown. And it doesn't say how long the transformation lasts, but it does have a timer. It's not super long, but it does do the damage on the transformation. You're not like Fafnir transformed or anything. You're not going to be stuck in a place for very long. It's just a quick kind of shock wave. But it is kind of different. It's going to be interesting to see how it comes out and plays out. But she does change form. She gets a very like halo, almost a halo around. I mean, it's not even a halo. It's not the word I'm looking for. Aura around her of kind of light and those effects, and also does change her voice back. From what we said, they were not able to show that in the patch notes, but I mean, it was just a transformation altogether, and is real good. I mean, it looks cool. I'm interested to see where this goes. She's supposed to be a very aggressive solo laner, a God of War like solo laners such as Bellona, and and you'll see if we have. We'll see if we have something come out of it, like I can't even think of it, a more jungle role, solo lane role, or another role on the map if she does come out of that. But we don't know yet. And of course, here is her not tier 2, her second. Well, I'll be damned. You're not even in this patch notes, Fang. Audio's not recording. For your side, I'm still getting my audio, so I'm gonna continue. Okay. So the next, her recolor is called Pergwin. I'm not real sure, but it gives her kind of a. Her hair becomes more darker brown. Her wings become more hawk-esque with hawk pattern and everything, and her armor becomes green. Of course, so along with her weapon, which is kind of like this glaive type weapon, and it's I mean, it's not bad, but really her default's better. It's a lot like Terra in the aspect that her default's better than her recolor, and I doubt we'll be seeing a whole lot of, unless you really like green, I doubt we'll see a lot of that. So next up we have like the only non-Odyssey god skin or redone mastery, which is now this is even Odyssey. We didn't have a single non-Odyssey skin other than Nike. But the first one, of course, is going to be bite me, Fang. I mean, so the next, so we have the big tier 5 skin, Demonic Pact Anubis, coming out in this patch, and it was chosen, and it's here. We have. It's pretty good. It's pretty badass. It's got 4 unique like models for each form from 5, 10, 15, and 20. The Skype call just crashed, and so we aren't already hearing Fang anyway. So we'll be seeing this ultimate change to Anubis, and really cool. It's really cool. It's absolutely really cool, and it has a ton of hidden forms. Hidden little features in with it, being that voice pack changes, it has custom recall, it has custom music pack, custom emotes, voice packs, like there's 4 different voice packs, 4 different specs for the abilities, 4 different models for them, and a ton of hidden features. Just like if you, while in final form, if you ult or you laugh, the entire map sees flames come down from the sky. When you ult or when you laugh. It's very, very cool, and you can't really, like, it's hard to explain, but it's really a really cool, just skin in general with all these little cool other effects. Will I be getting it? Maybe. Will Fang be getting it? Probably not. He's still kind of salty about Soul not getting it, but it's a very cool skin, and I'm interested to see it actually in game against me. And like you can see, I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. This is the last form, of course. It's freaking ridiculous. Oh my god, just look at that. Just look. I will devour your soul. But yeah, so that's the Anubis. I'm gonna play the voice pack real quick. I don't know how loud this is gonna be, so hopefully it's not too loud. So that is actually not his final. That's not his like final transformation. That is actually his first transformation. We'll play it again real quick. Okay, so it's not getting played. It's not getting picked up, sadly. So I'm sorry for that. We'll hopefully I'll get that fixed by the next one. But it's interesting. It's if you go to this website, which you can see it up at the top of my title bar, you can actually go listen to it, and that's his first form. And his first form comes, it's kind of like this almost mad human enchanter that thinks he's summoned by thinks he's the next Anubis, and goes through this demonic ritual like to become Anubis, and then just he's slowly stripped from his humanity and into this demon Anubis form. And you'll hear that a lot in his like talk and stuff in his lore. So we'll see what we have to go by that. But next we have the two other Odyssey skins, and the first one is Chilling Grasp Opwatch. So, very interesting. You look at this, you go, that's Opwatch? I mean, that's it's a really cool skin, because it's nothing like Opwatch, to be honest with you. Of course, he'll still have his weird ass walk. He's still gonna have his weird, just stance, like idle emote, where he's like squatted down and he's just like blah, blah. But all of his effects are not really naturey, not really like gory. It's very just icy, like this ice necromancer looking frost giant looking he looks like he's the guy from God, I want to say Thor. He looks like a frost giant, to be honest with you. And he summoned, all of his effects are very snowy, very cold looking, blue, white, light blue, and it's a very cool skin. I'm not a big Upwatch fan, and I'm probably not gonna pick this up just because, I mean, it's cool, but it's not cool enough to make me play Upwatch. To be honest with you, Galactic Vader is probably my favorite, and so we'll see what Upwatch gets from it. I don't think he'll get a whole lot from it, but it's definitely a cool skin. It's definitely different, and shout out to Hi-Rez for doing so. It's really, gotta say, it's cool. So next up, we can see Jurassic Camelsots, and this one was one that's been leaked and talked about for a while now. And this is actually, I really like this skin a lot. It's very different, and Camelsots is kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to make skins for, because he's kind of this weird model, and this is probably, they just nailed this one down flat with this one. And I'm still probably not gonna play him, probably not gonna pick up the skin, but I mean, for Camelsots players and people that like Camelsots, this is a really good skin, and I'm just ecstatic about it. It's really cool. It's a really nice design. Just, I mean, shoutouts to Hi-Rez, great skin, and yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's the two skins in the Odyssey. The other one is the Chalk voice pack the Chalk announcer pack, which is not shown here, but of course will possibly be shown later. I don't know. So next up, as you can see, we have Bacchus Mastery skins, and this is going to go pretty quickly because this is the last one actually. And so Bacchus got his redone Mastery skins. It looks really nice. I'm probably going to pick them up. I mean, do I already have a Bacchus Mastery? No. Yes. No, I don't. Because I have Hoot and Holler. But, I mean, I'm probably going to pick one up just to have it, because they look really nice. And, I mean, I love that, like I've said multiple times, I love that they're taking the old cards and just making them the skin color on it and keeping the gold effects on this, because this is his old card. This is his old card. So, absolutely love it. I can't wait for that skin to come out. So next up, we have the Carefree Dance emote. We didn't actually get to see that one, so yeah. Then we have Demonic Pact Nubis, which is the last item on the Odyssey rewards list. Chilling Grass Approach, Jurassic Camelsots, and the Chalk Announcer Pack, which are the last items in the Odyssey period. Now we move on to item changes. So first up, we have Celestial Legion Helm, which they buffed it, and it's been real good, especially with ADC mages to just buy. It gives you a lot of power, a lot of protections, and just really good at boxing physical hunters. If you're going Jingwei versus Soul, like we saw a lot of in the SPL, you're going to have this this item is just a real big pickup for like Soul or Kronos or Freya, and just gives you a ton of power, ton of protections, and relatively pretty cheap. And it's still relatively pretty cheap even with the increase in cost. This is still, it did decrease physical protections, so it still has the same amount of physical protections as Breastplate of Valor, not more. I remember when I was talking about that, I made the comparison. But it has power to it, which was not changed, 10 less physical protections, and just 100 more cost. This is still a pickup item, in my opinion. This is still This is still an item that you can pick up on your Guardian if you're really getting hurt by them basic attacking physical gods, and you want to be more like offensive. I say this plus a Void Stone is your best two hybrid defensive items to pick up on a semi-power guardian or a bulky mage like I run on my Hades if I run mid or my solo Hades sometimes, or mid Hades. I've run a semi-bulky Hades in the mid lane just to make up for like a Neath and a Neath mid, or like a really non-bulky comp. But so we'll move on to the next one, which is Hydra's Lament and Hydra's Star. So Hydra's Star, reduced cooldown reduction from 10 to 5. Makes sense. Very, very cost-effective item. Lowered down to 5%. Not a big deal in my opinion. It's still going to provide, really, it's still giving a lot of power, still being a very cost-effective item, and you're going to have it. So Hydra's Lament, it was a very strong piece in every jungle's build. Most every jungle's build. It has mana regeneration, it has cooldown reduction, it has power, and it's really, really good on most every one. I mean, Hydra's Hanbots is basically what European SPL played off of for most of this, and people banned Hanbots, and it's based on it. It fell apart. That's why and that's one reason that you see that Europe had two teams going to Worlds, and North America has 4. Hanbots, Hydra's was disgusting, but North America knew how to play against it. So, but Hydra's is still a strong item and still really good on a lot of gods, and to bring it in line with some other pickups, because cooldown reduction is very, very good. As we saw from Season 2 to Season 3, we had a lot of items go from 20 to 10, or from 15 to 10, or 25 to 10, 25 to 20, and so on and so forth. It's now on that kind of 10% rate, which kind of tones it down, but it also brings it in line with most things, so you're not wasting. In my opinion, if you get over 40% cooldown with your items, you're wasting a spot. And with this, you're no longer either settling for 35% cooldown or wasting a spot somewhere because you're getting 45% cooldown or some odd. Next up, we have Obsidian Shard, which is a big mage item. I mean, if you're running a mage, most people run the Obsidian Shard just because it's got so much power and so much penetration. And Spear has basically died off because of it, just because Obsidian Shard is the safer choice. And it's just overshadowed it. So, Obsidian Shard has been toned down by 10 power to hopefully bring Spear back in for options. And I can see why they're doing this, especially since Spear was like the main item in Season 2. Like, you never got Shard. You always got Spear. And then Spear got nerfed, and now you're only seeing Shard. Now, by doing this, it gives Spear a little bit more advantage, just because you don't have the raw power from Shard. So, it took them a long time to do this, but, I mean, it's interesting to see, and we'll see if it does bring Spear back into the meta. Next up, we have God Changes, which these weren't huge. There's a couple I'm really happy about, a couple I'm not so happy about. This one's not really a one that I'm super happy about, but I just now started getting Erling into my God pool, being that Erling is very strong. I have to give it to you. He's very, very strong. He's such a good pick just everywhere, in my opinion. He should be a first pick God, and he is in a lot of the higher ranks. He's not so much because not a lot of people have him in his God pool. He's okay in the solo lane. He's actually really good in the jungle, and the support Erling, in my opinion, is really good. I have been picking up and playing it very fluently, and it's been... you combine it with... You put in a good team comp, it is scary good, in my opinion. So, we'll see how this affects him, but Spot Weakness no longer gives him the basic attack movement penalty, so he's no longer going to be able to stick to you using just his buff. His buff now does still give the penetration, I think, so we'll still see that. Next up, we'll have 72 Transformation actually picks up the penalty if you get use Mink form, and it only lasts for 5 seconds. I don't know for sure how long it lasts in Spot Weakness, But then also you have the turtle shield and the attack speed buff also going to be at 5 seconds, so everything gets 5 seconds. But the turtle shield, in my opinion, doesn't really matter if it lasts for 6 seconds to 5 seconds because that shield is not huge, especially if you're running a non health based build. If you get hit with one good ability from a mage, that shield's gone. Or even a couple basics from the hunter. The shield dies pretty quickly, so I don't think that's a huge hit. It's probably going to be a bigger hit to those people like jungle and really hyper offensive solo. But support wise, defensive wise, this isn't a huge nerf, and I'm happy with. I mean, it's not great. I mean, he needed a nerf. It's and this is a good adjustment in my opinion. I'm not real happy about it, but still. So next up we have Hades. Woo! So Hades, his blight is now 8 seconds. So we'll see how this affects him. It's going to be a long blight. And Shroud of Darkness no longer knocks back minions. So there's your basic blight affecting tools. If you hit him with the Shroud of Darkness, it no longer knocks back minions, meaning that you no longer devour. When you devour, you no longer have a chance of missing minions because they were knocked away. And blight lasts longer, being that you can now basic attack the wave and now have time to basic attack the full wave to apply it without having to use your Shroud of Darkness. It just gives him more variety into his kit and make him a little bit less of a one-trick pony. That's kind of one reason I've just kind of stepped away from Hades in the in the support role, because he's very one-trick and he's got to get really close to the wave to clear it, although he is ranged. So we'll see how this changes him, how it picks up later on, but I really don't think this is going to be a huge buff to him, except for his last one. Pillar of Agony, increased protections, agony. I can't even say agony. Increased protections from 40 to 80 is now 60 to 80. Increasing by 5 at each rank. So now he's a little bit more viable from early to mid game. Still going to be that pretty easy squishy target late game. I mean, kind of squishy unless you're building defensive. But this will give him some more ability to just sit there and ult with the early game. I mean, if you haven't played against him in the let's say mid lane or solo lane, you know the Pillar of Agony is kind of a pain to get out of unless you get beads, especially for most mid laners. And now with this protection buff, it's going to be harder to just say, you know what, I'm ahead of you, I'm going to burst you down before you can do your damage to me, because it's a slow tick. So this may put him back in the meta. I'm kind of thinking about running him back again, but I haven't decided fully on it yet, and we'll see how these adjustments on computer will stand on Xbox. So next up we have Jing Wei. Jing Wei, of course, is the dominant hunter. She's the best hunter in Season 3. She's first pick, first ban. The top picks for main carries like Barracuda and Zatman, and she's just all around a nuisance. The early crit chance and her passive are ridiculous. So I'm really happy that this is getting changed. So I'm hopefully seeing more hunters in the meta, because this is getting kind of ridiculous seeing Jing Wei every game. Especially for me, who's in the duo lane all the time. Especially now that I'm carrying a little bit, because I'm good at carrying. We'll see Explosive Bolt now no longer crits at rank 1. It now has a 0 to 20% crit chance instead of 5 to 25, which now hurts her late game a little bit, being that she can't get crit with low crit chance. She won't be getting the crits as often, even if you don't build into that crit chance. Next up, Explosive Bolts. Not Explosive Bolts. The agility now has a increased cooldown. It was 20 to 12, now it is 20 to 16. So you're not as slippery as you were, being that you are just if you jump in, Your usual cooldown is 12. You have 4 more seconds than you were before, so you may not have enough time to jump out. I don't know how the cooldowns merge with your updraft, but I would like to see them maybe adjust it to be more kind of like they did with her attack speed. Change it where if you just do the agility, it gives you some attack speed, but if you use the updraft ability, you'll actually get more attack speed, and so on and so forth. So I'm interested to see if they do change that, because if that doesn't really match up with your updraft, the cooldown, you're going to have a lot more trouble getting around. Now, if updraft's cooldown is less than that, I don't see the problem with, well, yeah, I can see it. So we'll see how it affects her gameplay, and it really just comes down to if updraft, and I think Explosive Bolt was a good choice to just say, hey, let's do this, because it was a really powerful ability. It gives AoE crit. That's harsh on especially like a support. If you hit them with a crit early, supports usually have a little bit lower health. I'll talk about that in a second. Than your carries, especially if they're like one of those immobile carries like Artemis. So you'll take away a ton of health early just from that. So we'll see how this affects them and see if this really does drop her down. I don't think it will, but I do think it may cut down on her playtime. We'll see, maybe see more Rama in the scheme, which I don't like Rama either. Pain. So next up we have Kefri, my big ol' hubbug main Guardian Kefri. I hadn't played him in a while. I have played him some, but not in a while. And they're reviving him. They're giving him back his health. So he just hit the nerf train to Nerfedville back in Season 2, and now that Season 3 came, he's just not there. He got a couple of plays for a little bit because people weren't used to seeing him, and since there's a huge Guardian roster now, Terra and Kara and Fafnir in particular, you're not, like, he's outclassed. So they increased his HP back up by the 30, so he's now around 500, and I mean, that's great. I think it's great that they're doing it. I feel like Kefri may make a little bit more of an insurgence. I don't think it's going to make that much of an insurgence, because he still does jack diddly squat damage. But, I mean, compared to Fafnir and Terra, well, Terra does a little bit less. It doesn't do much damage, but Terra has a lot of CC in her kit, and she don't have to get close to use the CC. And Terra's going to get touched. We'll talk about Terra a little bit more. But we'll see Kefri do a little bit with this. I'm looking forward to bringing back the Hug Bug back in. I miss my old buddy. I missed him. Happy to see you back, buddy. So next up we have Nox. So this is just a pure on long change to Nox that I'm sure Fang would be, if he was here, he'd be, thank the Lord have mercy. So we're going to what it is that her passive stacks when she has abilities, but if you're hit, you lose one of them. Like, you lose the stack. It no longer takes away a stack if you're hit by a minion. It's now only if you're taken away by hit by a god. So ticks are going to be pretty effective against her. But now she has the ability to be more aggressive and say, she's standing in the minions. If I would attack him with my combo, I wouldn't be able to get full damage off. But I mean, I'm passing up on a chance because the minion's going to hit me and it's going to knock off all my candles. But now I can do my combo, full candles, away from you, boom, dead. Soloed. So it's a good one for Nox, although Nox has made a little bit of a recurrence into the meta. I'm interested to see if this does put her over the top, which I don't think it will, but you never know. So Osiris is next, and now this is mostly because I don't know. Osiris has two ways, and they say it's because he struggles late against magical damage dealers, but really, it's more, in my opinion, because he with his passive only including physical damage mitigation. It's because he struggles with magical solo laners such as Terra, Ymir, and those other gods, which would be usually pretty like they're really good at Xing too. They're really good at clearing, and they're really good at poking you, and they're good solo laners. But since Osiris doesn't have the mitigation they would against a physical solo laner, he can't really box them because he doesn't have like I said, the magical mitigation. And then late game, he's really good. Really good poked out by magical damage dealers. So by adding the damage mitigation per stack on his passive, like the physical damage mitigation, you're giving Osiris a chance to be that bully, be that solo laner that is good against magical solo laners. So if, let's say, Obey had made it into Worlds, we could be seeing more Osiris picked up against his Ymir, just because Ymir being the magical done, he was pretty good at boxing out Osiris, being that he did full damage to him no matter his stacks on his passive, compared to if he'd gone tier. So, Osiris. There we go. That's kind of an overview of that. So next up we have Terra, which is Terra's Blessing. I am completely okay with this because this makes a lot of sense. Terra's Blessing is really strong. Absolutely really, really strong. And the ultimate hits everyone on the map, no skill needed. No skill shot, no none. It's just boop, there you go. And it's too often late game. It really is. It's if you build cooldown like I do, you're doing it like every 50 seconds or some odd. I mean, very, very quick. And although she's not getting out of the ban phase most of the time, still when she does, it's pain. And most of the times I'm getting because I'm first picking. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and because this now goes from 110 to 90 was our old cooldown, it's now 110 at all ranks. Kind of like Athena in that increased cooldown to give her less effectiveness, just to be around like she was around the map. Just kind of give that huge passive ultimate to everyone. So I'm not pissed about this, not real happy about it, but I could see where they're going with this. Terra is such a good god right now, such a big opponent. I don't see why. I see why they're doing this. Kind of like Jing Wei. So next up we have Thoth. Thoth has not been great. He's been okay, but he's very skill shot oriented. He's hard to hit his stuff. So they're helping them out a little bit there in that the hieroglyphic assault, his projectiles now move 20% faster. So the big wide balls are no longer moving really slow. That's easy to dodge. Evade and punish increased radius of the little shootout thing was only 3. It was this little skinny, like minuscule little stylus looking thing. It's now a little bit thicker stylus. So a little bit wider, a little bit easier to hit, a little bit. And then Glyph of Pain is now reduced mana cost. It's now 25 to 45 at all ranks, because the 60, to be honest with you, really did just cut into your mana pool pretty harsh, and you'll see this kind of pick up more, because now it's 25 to 45 at all ranks. I mean, it's gonna hurt more. It's gonna be more usable, and like I said, less mana cost to do so. So that's gonna be great. I feel like that's good for Thoth. I would love to see. I don't know. I maybe increase of his just base movement speed. I would have liked to seen, but it's. I don't know. He's interesting. He's a great god in my opinion. But I just don't. I don't know if it's going to be being played at all. in the mid lane. I still think he's carryable. I do. Um, Zatman has even joked about playing carry Thoth at Worlds, which, knowing Eager, you never know with them. Their comps have been wonky before, and carry Thoth would be, it wouldn't be half bad in my opinion. So we'll see what we see what we have. So good buff. Sorry, good buff to Thoth. Now, last up on the list is Tyr. And when they said Tyr was getting a buff, I went, "You're kidding me. You're giving us Tyr as a buff." Tyr's a pain in the ass. Although the most people that play him right now are trash with him and can't hit the power cleave, both opponents and teammates. But he now has his stun switch at rank 0, just like Hell and Uller. Which the only problem I have with this is that Hell and Uller's change stance is an ultimate. You're letting the ultimate be available at 0 for the switch stance. But Tyr's is not an ultimate. So I'd like to see how this affects him. If this had gone through before Super Regionals, we could have seen Tyr a lot more. I don't know for sure if we're going to be seeing him at Worlds. I'll want to see that, although the main Tyr player is not going to be at Worlds, being Variety, like I gave an earlier example. So we'll see if he's picked up. I think this will help him against bullies like Vamana, who is really, really good right now in the meta. In the solo lane. But he's still iffy, in my opinion. This still feels like if it makes him good, it's going to make him real good. If it doesn't make him good, he's going to be about the same. It's going to be a little bit better. I don't know what to say about this other than Tyr's already a bit of annoyance, and this is giving him a buff to an annoying god that could make him over the top. And especially around Worlds, we're one patch away from Worlds, so this is going to be an interesting one to see and play. But we'll see. We'll see. And yes, just by the way, Nike will be open for Worlds. So if you're planning on, like, I don't know, holding your own tournament and stuff, doing something for Worlds, she is open for Worlds. She will be available in ranked play in the next patch, which is 3.24. So hope you guys enjoyed. That's all I got for you guys. I am tired. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to come back for the next episode. Maybe leave a like, leave a comment. I'm not gonna. I don't ask for those usually, but you never know. And they'll give me some reason to actually make more videos. But I hope to see you guys in the next episode of this. Wait out.